Hello, you fine internet folks. I'm Brian, and here's some advice. First off, I really want to thank everyone for all the thumbs ups. I really appreciate your support here and all the really positive comments. So thanks. You guys are really great. From here on out, I'm going to start listing the episodes at this title screen so that you can see what to expect. So right now, you should see some timestamps and the letters that we're going to read. Our first letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for blocking someone on my girlfriend's Instagram after she liked his thirst trap?" And this is from Beautiful Mobile. I'm a 24-year-old male, my girlfriend is 28, and she liked an obvious thirst trap from a guy we will call Michael. They were old friends in college. I think they dated, but she denies it every time I bring it up. I saw that she liked a photo while scrolling and said enough is enough. I logged into her Instagram account and blocked him. And then everything was fine for a while, but he just texted her asking why she blocked him. She made an assumption that it was me who blocked him, and while I did, it was indicative of the problems of our relationship. She screamed at me, and then when I told her why I did it, she stopped responding. I think she's being insane about this, but what do I know? I'm just a man, she says. Am I a jerk? Alright, OP. Yes, you are a jerk here. It's clear you have some trust issues. The first red flag I see is in your statement. I think they dated, but she denies it every time I bring it up. It seems like you are bringing this up over and over again, and you're the one who's fixated on their relationship and their friendship. It seems to me that you're afraid that she might be tempted to cheat on you, and that you're being very jealous here. Relationships are about mutual trust, and if you cannot trust your girlfriend, then there's no salvaging this or any other relationship for that matter. You seem really petty, jealous, and insecure. Your girlfriend isn't being crazy, you are. What you did was a breach of her trust and completely uncalled for. You say that after you blocked him that everything was fine for a while. Your girlfriend didn't even notice that he was blocked until she was texted by Michael. This shows that she wasn't even really following him very closely, otherwise she would have probably noticed immediately. As for your relationship, I suspect that it's over. Take this as a lesson learned. You need to take some time and self-reflect and understand why you're such a jealous person. You may even benefit from therapy. Anyhow, good luck, and I hope your future relationships go more smoothly than this, and I hope you can learn to be a little less controlling and a little less jealous. Our next letter is, am I a jerk for naming my daughter after my stepsister's deceased child? And this is from Throwaway Account. When I was 8, my parents got a divorce, and my father shortly after married another woman. She had a daughter from another relationship who was 3 years older than me. We'll call her A. My mother died when I was 16, and her name was Amina. She was a wonderful person, kind, caring, beautiful, and just amazing in every way. I was devastated when she died, and I guess I always knew that if I had a daughter, I would name her after my mom. My stepsister A got pregnant at 21 and had a daughter who she named Amina. At first, I was surprised by the choice of name, especially considering it's quite an Arab/Muslim name, and she doesn't really have any links to the culture or religion. Another thing to note is that me and A are not close. She didn't like me and often bullied me when I was younger. After 3 years, I decided to move in with my mom permanently and didn't see my father often. But after my mother's death, I moved back in with my father. Anyway, A's daughter died when she was 10 months old due to SIDS. 10 years later, A has never had any other children after the death of Amina. A few months ago, I gave birth to my daughter and named her after my mother, Amina. My husband loves the name as well. It's spelled differently, but essentially the same pronunciation. My father is still married to A's mother, and we are quite close. He was shocked when I told him, but he understood. However, A and her mother, my stepmother, think it's incredibly disrespectful that I've named my daughter Amina. I have even gotten a lot of hate from friends of theirs on Facebook, who call me a jerk. I believe I've done nothing wrong, especially considering I'm not even close to A, and she will never really be in my child's life. Whilst I understand the tragic death of her daughter must be extremely traumatic, I've always said that I would name my child after my mother. My father has backed me up, which has caused some issues with his wife, but has told me to reconsider the name. I will not be changing her name, but I want to know if I'm in the wrong here. Alright, OP. First off, you're not a jerk. Your stepsister essentially did the exact same thing that you're doing. That is, it seems like she named her daughter after your mother. If your stepsister is a bully, then this may have been a passive-aggressive move to prevent you from using this name. Even if we do give her the benefit of the doubt, and that she didn't do it maliciously, the fact remains that she still named her daughter after your deceased mother. If we were using your stepmother's and stepsister's reasoning here, then that in itself would be incredibly disrespectful. These two are at best hypocrites and at worst spiteful, petty individuals who are bullying you. I would ignore them and block any of their friends who harass you. Personally, I find it a little odd that she would name a child after your mom, or even a name that was close to your mom's. No one really owns a name, and just because she named her child a certain name doesn't mean that she gets to keep that name forever. That's just the way life is. Anyhow, congratulations on motherhood, and good luck. Our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Asking My Ex-Boyfriend to look at my car because my boyfriend refuses? And this is from Lady Amal. I've been asking my boyfriend for over a week to please check out my car. He knows what he's doing, he has worked on every truck he's ever had, and I'm a clueless idiot who is very likely about to not have a job for a while due to everything that's going on. So I can't afford to take it to someone even if I could find somewhere open. It feels very strange when I drive it, and it's only getting worse. There have been times where it honestly felt like it was going to straight fall apart on me on the interstate and I have to drive it extra slow. It terrifies me. My tires aren't that old, so it can't be that. My boyfriend is getting paid time off right now, so he isn't working or doing anything besides playing video games, so I've asked him to take a look at it, and he just won't. He says there's probably nothing wrong with it, and I'm being dramatic. I have to drive it an hour to work every day, and I don't leave until it's dark, so I have a fear of ending up on the side of the road at midnight by myself. After a week of being frustrated, I decided to take my car to the only other person I know who knows things about vehicles, my ex who I'm still friendly with. It wasn't a big deal. I texted him and asked if he was busy and needed my opinion on my car. He said sure, bring it around. Stayed there for about 30 minutes and that's it. My boyfriend absolutely flipped out when he found out today. He said I disrespected him, disrespected our relationship, that I'm in the wrong, and I broke his trust when all I literally wanted was to make sure that my car was safe to drive. Well, OP, I'm gonna say that you're not the jerk here. You are worried about your car breaking down on you, and I can't blame you, especially if your car seems to be getting worse on a daily basis. Like you mentioned, you would be lucky to even find a mechanic still working these days. As far as your boyfriend is concerned, he's a jerk. First, he isn't even taking your concerns seriously here. He's being lazy and not helping you in your time of need, and he's being a bad partner. I imagine he feels threatened and jealous and is taking this out on you. His reaction would have been more appropriate if you had cheated on him, not get your car fixed by a trusted friend. Your boyfriend has a lot of growing up to do, and you might just consider finding a new one. Take care and good luck. Our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Sister that she should never have had a child? And this is from Happy Contact. I'm a 31-year-old male and I got into a fight with my sister, 27, a few days ago. To give some context, my sister and her husband live in a one-bedroom apartment with a 3-year-old. The husband is a total joke who has been working at a fast food job and my sister works in retail. Over the last couple of months, my sister lost her job and her husband had his hours cut back. Since I make over $130,000 a year, I guess my sister thought it was okay to ask me for money. Now I understand that things happen and sometimes we need help, but my sister and her deadbeat husband have done little to improve themselves. They have been together for at least 6 years, and despite the fact that they are poor, they decided it would be a good idea to have a child. So I was annoyed to give them money when they brought some of the circumstances on themselves. So I stopped by their apartment to give them some cash, and I commented, you know, if you never had a kid, you wouldn't need to be begging for money. Her husband apologized for having to ask for money, but my sister blew up at me and cursed at me and called me names. I was giving them money despite the fact that I had no obligation, and I got mad that she was cursing me out, and I told her, you should have aborted Natalie. Natalie is their child. My sister left the room crying. Her husband told me that I should go until things cool down, and I decided to leave myself. Well, OP, first off, let's examine the situation. Your sister is working retail, and her husband is working fast food. And they seem to have been doing just fine for themselves until the world was thrown into chaos. Now they are not pulling in as much money as they were before the pandemic, and they're not doing so hot. Not everyone has the luxury of being able to set aside a portion of their paycheck each month, and it looks like your sister and her husband fell into this. Your sister swallowed her pride and then asked you for help, knowing full well what kind of jerk you are. Next, you stopped by their apartment to give them money, and considering that this is a one-bedroom apartment, it was likely well within the earshot of Natalie, and basically told your niece that her mommy and daddy would be better off if she wasn't around. Then you wonder why your sister insults you and gets mean? I mean, really, man, you need to get a clue here. I can't tell for sure, because you haven't given a lot of context, but it seems like your opinion of your brother-in-law might be based solely on the type of job he has, or the type of jobs he has had in the past. You don't really specify why you think he's a deadbeat. If it is because of his job, then your attitude towards people who work these kinds of jobs is appalling. Also, he apologized for taking the money. That doesn't scream typical deadbeat behavior to me. He sounds embarrassed and he sounds humbled that he has to ask you for help. I think you need to take a look in the mirror and think long and hard about what type of person you want to be. And all I can say is good luck on becoming a better person. Our last letter is called, Am I a Jerk for Using Home Security Cameras to Expose My Girlfriend's Gaslighting? And this is from Chores Throwaway. My girlfriend Anne is a 25-year-old female and I'm a 25-year-old male, and we have been dating for the past 5 years since college. After graduation, we were semi-long distance. We lived close enough that we could alternately visit each other almost every other weekend. In 2018, Anne got a job in my city, and we found a place and moved in together. Now is a good time to mention the security cameras in our house. Break-ins are unfortunately common in the area that we live. We thus got some motion-activated cameras, one of which has a view of our kitchen, to monitor the back door. The cameras only record when there's motion, so they can retain footage for a very long time. Anne, of course, knows this. About a year ago, Anne started complaining that I wasn't contributing equally to the chores. I've been obsessive about chores my whole life. Growing up, not doing dishes meant no video games for a week. When I lived with my roommates, I was always the chore enforcer, making sure that we all stuck to the chore wheel. Anne is just as fastidious about the chores as I am, so we just naturally alternated who did what. I'd just been brushing off her remarks, but over the last few months, they've become much more aggressive. That is, I was vacuuming, and Anne said, "Look at you finally cleaning up around here." I replied that we alternated vacuuming, to which she retorted, "No, you vacuumed maybe twice since I moved in." Exchanges like this have been happening so frequently that I begin to doubt my own recollection. Am I not as clean as I thought? Finally, she exploded at me last week. She said that having to stay at home constantly over the past weeks exposed how little I do around the house and that she didn't move in just to be my maid. Questioning my own sanity, I spent a few hours going through the entire 1.5-year archive of security camera footage and tallied the exact number of times in the kitchen the cam caught each of us doing dishes. Our cleaning supplies, vacuum, mop, etc., are in the kitchen pantry, so I've also tallied up the number of times we grabbed cleaning stuff. To my vindication, the tally showed that we were indeed splitting chores equally. She vacuumed and mopped around 5 times more than I did, and I did dishes around 20 times more than she did. Given that we vacuum and mop at least once a week and do dishes at least every day, these are insignificant differences over the last year and a half that we've lived together. When I confronted Anne, she shrugged off her behavior as remembering things differently. But the real sin was what I did, which she called an unforgivable violation of her privacy, akin to abusive stalking. She has broken up with me and is trying to move out, although obviously this is difficult due to current circumstances. I am totally heartbroken. Anne was the love of my life, and I can't believe she destroyed our relationship like this. To make matters worse, she told many of our friends, who are mostly siding with her. They've been texting me that what I did was creepy, abusive, controlling, invasive, etc. I'm at a loss, and I'm beginning to think I'm the one who's off base here. Hi OP, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and assume that you aren't leaving any details out here. If this is the case, then it could just be that your girlfriend was looking for a reason to leave the relationship. This would mean that there was nothing that you could do to fix the situation. She may have been waiting for an excuse to leave, and you presented her with the opportunity. I think that going through the footage without telling her was a little slimy. I think you should have approached her and said something along the lines of, "I honestly feel like I'm doing more chores than you're giving me credit for. I'd like to sit down with you and look over the footage to figure out if this is true." Or better yet, you could have just simply told her that you honestly feel like you're doing your fair portion of the chores and that you would like to set up a chore schedule to make sure that you are both dividing up the labor properly. If you were truly doing the same number of chores as she was, then setting up a schedule would not have made any kind of difference and would have alleviated the friction around the chores. This conversation should have come a year ago when she first raised the issue. By your own admittance, you didn't even take her complaints seriously. This breakdown of communication is probably the real culprit for why your relationship failed, not that your partner destroyed it. You two didn't work together towards finding a solution that worked for both of you. Instead, you took matters into your own hands to prove that she was wrong. Let this be a lesson that "I told you so" is never the best way to win an argument. Anyhow, good luck. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Consider giving me a thumbs up if you enjoyed my analysis. Consider giving me a thumbs down if you thought I did a poor job. Anyhow, I'll see you all later, and thanks for watching.